Whatever happened to the live action fantasy film? There are a lot of great fantasy shows and animation and anime, but live action fantasy films in the theater, I haven't really seen any in the last like 5 to 10 years. If I'm forgetting any, please put them down in the comments below and I'd love to watch them. The last live action fantasy film I remember seeing in theaters was like the King Arthur by Guy Ritchie. That just doesn't really happen anymore. And I have a few theories as to why that is. Number one, money. Studios are super risk adverse these days and they're looking for things that they know will have success in the box office, which usually leads to them going for a franchise. But then also fantasy in and of itself usually has to be based off of a book or a comic or graphic novel for it to have success. I mean, like, what are they doing?
They're redoing Harry Potter because they've run out of fantasy things that they want to adapt.
And then you also run into the issue of adapting things and adapting them poorly. If there's any reason that a studio wants to make money, they're most likely not going to look for a fantasy for that success. TV shows work because they have the time to build the world. That's the other issue, is that fantasy needs good world building. It takes a long time to create something that's engaging and fleshed out. So a lot of studios are like, okay, well, we don't have a built-up world, we don't have a pre-built audience, there's no way this thing is going to make money, so we're not going to make it. Another reason why I think we're not seeing fantasy films made these days is kind of controversial, but I kind of blame Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings trilogy are the best fantasy films ever made, in my opinion, right? And that's a problem for two reasons. One, any film that has come out since then is compared to them, so not as good, doesn't do as well in the box office. And then two, a lot of people after it have tried to emulate those films, which then ends up doing them a disservice. So what's the solution? I think the answer is to create original fantasy ideas that are built specifically for the big screen. Adapting something is cool and can work out great, but there's always going to be something lost in translation, and it's really easy to mess that up. But I think if you make something from the ground up that was only meant to be seen in cinemas, then you're much more likely to have success with the audience viewing experience. And also, I think you just need to start with something that has a smaller budget. I think there's room to make like a $5 million fantasy film, and if it's done right, I think there would be an audience that wants to see it and it could recuperate its costs, which is why I'm making a fantasy action film called Silent. The goal is to build an original fantasy world in the film made specifically for film, and I think it could have the chance to like bring audiences in to enjoy their favorite genre in the theaters and not just on television. If you want to help us make it, you can check out the Indiegogo page or the other videos that I've posted. We could use all the help we can get in funding and producing this project. It's been a long time since an original live action fantasy has been in the theaters. The last one I can think of was Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. And there's so much room for more. So yeah, I could probably talk about this for hours and I might make a bigger video about it. But thanks guys for watching. And if you want to learn more about our short film Silent, check out the Indiegogo page and see you in the next one.